Hi everyone, welcome back. By now you've done lots of cooking sessions and you've learned all about different types of food and what we need to be healthy. So today we're going to teach you about growing and how we can grow from our food waste. So you'll remember me asking you to keep back some of your food waste from the sessions that we've already done, and today we're going to show you what you're going to do with them. So don't worry if you don't have anywhere outside to plant them. We're going to be growing on windowsills and you can transfer them outside if you have the space. If you want to do this outside on a lovely day like we are today, then feel free. Obviously it's less messy, or you can just do it in your home. So let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to need to get ready for today's session is some newspaper, a plate or a dish, something with a rim on it is great. If you've got a lid that works the same, or a tray, then that's absolutely fine. But you will need to use something that you're not going to need for about 4 weeks. You're going to need your food waste, obviously, because that's what we're going to grow today. Some inners or tubes, so you can use kitchen roll or toilet roll tubes, a cup, beaker, a glass, some scissors, and a plastic bottle. So we're going to start off with the ends of our lettuce. So you'll remember that we used these as part of our rainbow salad. So we ate all the top bits, but we don't eat this bottom bit, we cut it off. And the easiest way to grow this is on your windowsill. So a nice sunny windowsill in your kitchen maybe. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some water into our dish. Not too much, just enough so it covers the bottom of the lettuce. You're just going to stand it up in there, and then the next thing you're going to do is just water the top very gently, and that's to stop it browning on the top and dying off. So we want to do that on a regular basis to make sure it's damp, and then what will happen is it will start to grow. So we'll see this one starting to grow as a sprout. Here's one I planted a couple of weeks earlier, so you'll see that one there. So that's a bit bigger. And then this one has been growing for about 3 weeks. So you can see how they start to sprout. So once it's at this stage, it's ready for transferring into an outdoor space, into your soil or your compost area where you're going to grow it fully. And then it will start to get its roots, and then it will fully sprout all the way around, and you'll be able to harvest that out and then put that into your salads. The same process also works with carrot tops. So if you're cutting the top of your carrot off, obviously we don't eat that part, you grow it in exactly the same way. And you can also do it with celery, so the base of the celery again, and just popping it in and just making sure that they are moist, not absolutely drowning in water, just moist. And then once they start to grow like this, we transfer them into some compost or soil. Okay, so the next thing we're going to plant is we're going to plant our seeds from our bell peppers that we've used in a couple of recipes. So remember I asked you to keep those. We're going to plant those today. Now, again, you don't have to have any specific growing equipment to be able to do this. We're going to use toilet roll middles and we're going to use newspaper, but you can equally use egg boxes as well, and they're biodegradable. So when it comes to planting these seeds outside, you can plant them in the egg boxes directly into the ground. You don't have to take them out. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a plant pot like this to put your seeds in. So this time you're going to need your newspaper. We're going to open the newspaper fully out, and we're going to fold it in half. Don't have to be too precise with that. We want to make sure that we've got the folded end at the top of our glass, and the bottom of our glass is on the open end. And we're going to pop it on like this. Make sure that you've got a little bit of space at the bottom, because that's where we're going to fold up. So you can use a glass or a beaker or any cup at all, so long as it hasn't got a handle, because you need to be able to roll it. And then what we're going to need to do is we're going to just need to push all the bottom in. You don't have to be very precise or very neat. Take your cup out and then just make sure it's fully sealed on the bottom, and then that it just stands up. So it might just need a push down. There we go. And there we go. We've made our planter for our seeds to go in. So here's another one I've made. So this one's slightly smaller. So depending on what you're growing, depends on what size you might want to use. And there's another one as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plant our seeds into these. So we're going to take our middle of our pepper, I'm just going to pull off those seeds like this, okay, so they're all separated out. So we're going to need to take some compost. You're going to sprinkle that in. So it's about 3/4 full. You don't want it right to the top, because what we want to do is we want to get our seeds. So because this is quite large, I'm going to put about 3 or 4 seeds, and I'm going to make sure they're all spaced out so they're not all together. And then we're going to sprinkle some more compost on the top so it just covers them over. That's why you want to leave a little bit of space when you fill it up. And then what we need to do is just give it a little water, not too much. We want to make sure that it's moist but not soaking wet, that it all comes out of your newspaper. So we'll put those to one side. So the next one we're going to make is using a toilet roll middle. Now this time we're going to need to cut the bottom to create these little flats. You want to cut the bottom no more than about a top of your finger. Doesn't have to be really deep. It's just going to make the bottom so it makes sure nothing falls out. And you're going to do about 6 cuts. So once you've done all 6, you're going to fold them around in a circle, following each other. And then you'll get like a spiral pattern. And the last one you'll fold in, just push it so that you can see a little hole in there. And then when you put it on the table and push down, it will seal that hole and it will create a nice flat bottom. So it doesn't matter if they don't stand up completely straight, because your seeds are just going to start off in here. They're not going to grow properly in here. So all we're going to do now is going to get some compost. And then we're just going to make sure that that's not clumpy. We're just going to sprinkle that inside. So you want it to about 3/4 full. So you've got a little bit on the top. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get our food waste and we're going to pull off the seeds. Now you'll have lots of seeds if you're using bell peppers. You can do exactly the same with apple pips. You can do exactly the same with tomatoes. So I would probably put 2 seeds in just in case one doesn't grow, and then just make sure that you cover it over. And again, you're going to need to use a little bit of water just to give it a drink to start that germination process. But you don't want too much in there that it's going to drown. So you can see I've just added a little bit, and then I'll keep topping that up. And we do the same with our newspaper one. So we'll get some more compost. And we're just going to sprinkle that in. Again, make sure it's about 3/4 full. I'm just going to pull off some seeds. Now, because this one's a bit bigger, I can probably put in some more seeds in this one. So I'm going to try 4 in here, and I'm just going to sprinkle those around so they're not all on top of each other, not all together. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some more soil on top and give that a little bit of water. Now, depending on what time of the year you decide to grow your seeds, depends on whether it's warm or not. And tomatoes and bell peppers and things like that like the warm climates. So we can't plant those directly outside. And if you put them on a windowsill where it might get cold overnight, then what they're going to need is a mini greenhouse. And that's the reason why we're using our plastic bottles. So instead of sending these all to landfill, we can recycle these into our little greenhouses. So you don't need the lid and you don't need the wrapper on the outside. So make sure you discard of those and recycle where you can. And you need to make sure you give it a nice rinse out. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze it in the middle to create a flat surface. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut along the middle like this. So if you're going to put your seeds on a cold windowsill to start with, they are still going to need a greenhouse, even if they're indoors. And so I can use this on 2 or 3 of these smaller ones over the top. And then I can also water without removing that through the top. When we transfer them outside, after they've started to grow, if you find that the weather's getting cooler, especially overnight, you can reuse these outdoors as well, and the rain will just go in there and naturally water them. We're not going to waste this bottom section either. So what we're going to do is we're going to pierce some holes in the top of this so that it gets some air. So this is where you might need some help. So you just want to put some holes all the way around using your scissors. There we go. And then for our bigger pots, we can put one of those in and then put that over the top. And there we go. We've got some food waste growing on our windowsills and ready for transfer across to our gardens when they are a bit more established, and we've got greenhouses to keep them warm. Thank you so much for growing with us today. I hope you enjoyed all the activities we've done together. Make sure you look after your plants by watering them regularly, not too much, keeping them in sunshine. And then once they're starting to grow more, you'll need to transfer them outdoors so they can fully grow. If you don't have an outdoor space, don't worry. You can take them to maybe your school and grow them there, or ask someone with a garden if they'll give you a little bit of space to be able to grow them. Once they're fully grown, you'll be able to harvest them and use them in all of your cooking recipes, and maybe use some of the recipes that we've already taught you as part of our sessions. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you again soon.